Very good morning, dear colleagues from ITIDA and CDTI, Spanish and Egyptian researchers, representatives from private and public R&D institutions, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome all of you to this online seminar about the 6th bilateral call for proposals on R&D projects in IT. I am José Manuel Durán, CDTI delegate for the MENA region, Middle East and North African region. CDTI is a Spanish agency of innovation that belongs to the Ministry of Science and Innovation of Spain, is delighted to partner with ITIDA, Ministry of ICT of Egypt, in this science and technology event aimed at creating research networks, technology and business partnerships, and raise the visibility of Spanish and Egyptian technologies across the ICT sector. Both agencies, we signed an agreement in 2016 that was renewed in 2019. This agreement allowed both agencies to create the IT Egyptian Spanish IT Innovation Program, named ESITIP, receiving up to date close to 30 bilateral projects. Moreover, this fruitful partnership has been chosen to be presented in the Expo Dubai 2020 as a success in innovation partnerships between Europe and Arab countries. Now, I think it's time to the very interesting speakers to talk. So let's move to the first one. We will start with the engineer Yasser Adelbari, who is program manager of electronics industry at ITIDA since 2016. His Master of Science degree of Engineering and MBA of Management. He has more than 25 years manufacturing experience in electronics and home appliances. Please, Engineer Yasser, the floor is yours.
Hi, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to attend this webinar, really to present, to share with you the ground success, our ground success of for the electronic initiative in Egypt. Let me share the presentation. Okay. Firstly, let me just give a quick overview about the initiative. It launched an residential initiative for empowering and enabling the electronic industry in Egypt, to positioning Egypt as a regional hub for electronics manufacturing and world destination of a choice for electronics design and innovation, and called the initiative Egypt Makes Electronics. I'd like to highlight what is the ICT and electronics contribution in economy of Egypt. Okay, it's the contribution, it's increasing maybe from 2018, 2020 from 3.2% to 4.4% in Egypt GDP, to see how the growth rate in this sector. It is this is the ICT sector. This is the fastest growing sector in Egypt with 16% this in 2020, even within the COVID-19 pandemic. This is still is growing almost on the same rate over the last 4 years, between the 15% to 16%. And also that is the highlighted in the export, even increasing export also from 2018 to 2020, from 3.2 to 4.3 to 4.1. Also, that is for the increasing the global confidence, and that is just highlighting the acknowledge of the international agencies and the marketing agencies all over the world, about that the Egypt readiness for the ICT sector and electronics, like the World Economic Forum. Egypt improved in the business dynamism and innovation capability, and also that is the by Fitch Ratings IMF support package will help boost investor in the, confidence in Egypt. Currently, it is the Egypt as the first in the Middle East and Africa and 15th top global service location. And United Nations UNCTAD, Egypt as the Africa's top FDI foreign direct investment destination in Egypt, and so on. This is that we build the strategy of the initiatives based on the Egypt value proposition in this sector, like the pivotal location, the inspiring the strategy, inspiring innovation strategy in Egypt, all over the Egypt now. It is the competitive, sure, it is the competitive cost, talent pool, developing infrastructure. It is also and covered by the government support. Now let's present what the strategy pillars, what our strategy tracks. Our strategy tracks not focus on the two tracks mainly, or two arms, the electronic design and innovation and electronics manufacturing as well. But with the main pillars, it is for the empowering the research and development and innovation and entrepreneurship. It is the preparing the talent pool with certain training programs for the also for the educational improve and upscaling the educational program as well for all layers of for all layers of labor. I mean that for engineering, for the students, for even for management, for labor, for technicians, and so on, and the certain program for the investment attraction in that sector, and enabling and deepen the local manufacturing, lastly, and leverage the export based on the free trade agreement. Also, this is the within a strategy we highlight and we identify certain target industry segments and industry products. Industry segments like including what the product and system design and development, IC design, contract manufacturing, and semiconductor industries. This is we pay a big intention now to enable the semiconductor industry in all level, either for design and or manufacturing as well. And also that is the we define the certain industry product. It is that for the make deepen and localization, increase the localization of the of electronics products, and it is called focus industry products. This is based on quick impact and high demand of local and regional market and the growth rate as well. This is the as you see, this is that we already identify certain products like telecom products, mobile and phone and tablets, fiber optics, and so on, telecom products in the related industry products, with feeding, including feeding industries of these sectors, LED lighting, solars, LED displays, how to deep the how to enable and deep and increase local added manufacturing, LED displays, smart meters, IoT devices, MEMS sensors, IC fab, semiconductor fabrications, covered also with some certain important feeding industries. We have to enable to make increase the localization of industry as well. That is the certain some product we have already ground success stories, long success stories like LED displays. We have like the Samsung, like LG, like Toshiba. It is the making TV with more than 50% local added value producing in Egypt, and even the feeding the regional area, even the Middle East and Africa, with Egyptian product as well. And also that we have the good record in the smart meter industry and LED lighting, but now we study how to increase the localization, increasing local added value as well. Also, we build upon the abundant talent pool with the now it's graduated yearly graduated 550,000 students graduated from the universities every yearly, and 60,000 out of these numbers IT and electronics related educational, more than 50,000 IT and in the technician, I mean the labor and technicians related to this. And we upscale these talents by different program training program and development programs within the Egypt electronics, Egypt the certain other program like Next Technology Leader, Egypt Forwards, and so on. Sorry, I think that the sorry, I think maybe disconnected. Now is okay?
Yes, we can hear you and watch your presentation again. Thank you.
Yes, sorry for that. Yeah. That's coming. Okay. I'm not sure how we stopped. Anyway, this is the just we highlight, we preview some leading design players working in Egypt, either in IC chip design or the product and system design. As we see, that's like the Siemens, EDA, Mentor Graphics, Silicon Vision, Synopsys, Analog Devices, Mexel, Godix, ST Microelectronics, and other companies also working, more than 30 companies working in IC chip design and so on, and other other companies working in the product and system development like Valeo, IBM, Avilab, and other companies also. That is the pool of companies working in that sector, and what we are seeking to empowering these companies and increasing this number within 3 years, double this number within 3 years. Okay, also this is the growth rate over 3 years, last 3 years. It is the more than 40% in that sector as well. Also, this is just highlighting how the cost competitive in the manufacturing sector, and versus also that is the versus Egypt versus China versus Turkey versus India, and also in the right side, it is the annual design R&D fully loaded cost, how the Egypt versus other, how the Egypt competitiveness in the different layers, junior engineering seniors with USA, China, and India as well. And also this is like the list of the free trade agreement. It's the more than free trade agreement with more than 72 countries all over the world. Also, this is the design and development opportunities for in the chip design. IoT, data analytics, smart cities, automotive electronic systems as well, and so on. And industry 4.0, what we call the opportunities in design and development. how to act, and that is what kind of our programs to enable the and empower that already we have established certain like that for the integrated ecosystem establishment, the prototyping and innovation lab and competence centers including labs for IoT, developing IoT, wearable electronics, smart cities, PCB fabrication facility, digital fabrication technology, microelectronics and MEMS technology labs, and so on, with more than 220 million Egyptian pound funding for establishing these labs already. It is that 80% of these labs have been established across the Egypt in the technology park as well. It's like that to preparing the infrastructure and in reach the ecosystem of the electronic industry. The second is the funding for the electronic development and innovation projects with more than up to 5 million Egyptian pound per project. It's like this is a seed fund. And it could be that engaged in sharing this project with Spain project as well for co-funding from the Egyptian party and the Spain party, and also that is including funding ADE tools and developing kits and funding the cost of patents and international level. Also, this is another program for fostering the startups, electronics startups, companies for the two benefits like these startups, complete cycle to benefit what for our infrastructure. Also, this is a seed fund up to 1 million Egyptian pound per company. Also, that is the upscaling, the technical and business skill, and so on. And in addition, in a growth stage, launching a program for co-invest with company to help for grow up. And that is another program for digital transformation, like what called Industry 4.0. We have already launching a program for digital transformation of industry and the competence center with the Siemens and Fraunhofer for the enabling the industry sector as well. For coming to the infrastructure already, that is in addition what we have the first tier of technology park, what called the Smart Village and the Maadi Technology Park. Already we have established the second technology park across the Egypt. The plug and play solution and the top infrastructure, in addition to dedicated area for manufacturing. We have providing attractive incentives inside those technology park as well to attract either local investment or foreign investment. What is the very attractive and very promising technology park in the knowledge city as well? That is that we established like innovation hub. Innovation hub to prove in the knowledge city. It would like to provide an integrated working environment. Let us see how this innovation hub at knowledge city as well. It is the incomplete ecosystem hosting the foreign or local electronic design companies equipped with the advanced technology labs, including microelectronics and the MEMS lab, IoT and the robotic lab, Industry 4 Innovation Hub, multimedia virtual augmented reality labs, and in addition to the startup program for incubating more about 15 startup in electronics, 15 startups in electronics with certain incentives and seed fund as well. Sure, it is all of this with the training academy. Yeah, we can. This is like that. Just we preview like the what kind of incentives provided for the electronics company, electronics enterprises hosted in the Innovation Hub at Knowledge City over 3 years, like the incentives for capacity building, incentives that you can be hosted in the Innovation Hub, almost of exemption for all renting costs, even the also for the utility, all the utility costs and so on, even also the financing, the transportation cost as well. This is the certain incentive package provided for the hosted company in the Innovation Hub. Also, this is some details about the incubation program for hosting the 15 startups annually in electronics sector. And this is like the now even that the Innovation Hub will up and running within 4 months from now. And now we are seeking for the operator and to support this operation model. And we are looking for sure the partner for operating this, like the ecosystem, complete integrated and ecosystem in Innovation Hub. Like this is what kind of benefits of the Innovation Hub operator. Just like these snapshots of the advanced technology labs in the Technology Hub for microelectronics, serving the RF analog mixed signal, digital circuits, optical MEMS devices, measurement and characterization as well, over 700 square meters. Second lab, Industry 4 Innovation Center. This is collaborating with Siemens and Fraunhofer. Also, this is the also preview of IoT and the robotic lab. This is like the this is what the Electronics Academy offers for design, for industry, for digital transformation, or even the undergraduates with our partners of educational service provider like ITI, Siemens, Fraunhofer, some universities, Ain Shams University, Cairo University, and Fab Lab Foundation, IPC, and so on. And this is some details about what kind is professional training, targeting minimum 2,000 engineers annually in that area, on that tracks. This is the government support, this is the list of government support, either for industry or for the design as well. Like the some financial support, like 30 to 50% corporate tax reduction, and custom and tax exemption on machines and tools in the technology park, subsidizing the up to 50% in the renting fees also in the technology park. Grants for rental cost utilities at Knowledge City over 3 years, 5 to 10% export overhead rebate based on the local added value. Also, we give an advantage for local products in the government purchase up to 15%, funding R&D project with up to 5 million Egyptian pound, fund the over 3 years for HR development, for enterprise staff, and in addition to providing free professional and vocational training programs as well. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Yasser Adelbari, for explaining us the tremendous efforts and progress and the amazing landscape that Egypt is having related to electronics. Thank you very much for your presentation today.
Yes, welcome. For any inquiry, for any question, okay, ready.
Okay, perfect. Let's move then to Dr. Xavier Jorda. Dr. Xavier Jorda is the Vice Director at the Institute of Microelectronics of Barcelona. He received the Bachelor degree of Science from the Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona and his PhD from the Institut National des Sciences Appliquées de Lyon, in France. He has authored and co-authored more than 100 research papers published in journals and conference proceedings. His current research activity deals with the thermal management, modeling, electrothermal characterization of power semiconductor devices and systems. Please, Dr. Jorda, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Jose Manuel, for your kind introduction. And thank you also for the opportunity given for presenting which is the Spanish scenario for micro nano electronics research. I will now share my screen and I will proceed to sorry, what happens? It seems I have some problems for sharing my presentation.
Okay, Mr. Jorda, if you want, you can try and we can read a couple of questions that we have for the previous speaker.
Okay, yeah, because...
Okay. Engineer Yasser, please, can you turn on your micro and we will read your... Okay, so somebody says thank you for your presentation and says that he didn't catch the content of the government support in the last slide. Are these options only for Knowledge City? Can we get more information about Knowledge City, please?
The Knowledge City, this is the just complete integrated environment for enabling the electronic design as well. This is including electronic design, not including just that IC design as I explained. It is also covering the systems, the products, IoT, embedded systems, and so on. This is the it is a package. It is a package that's related to incentive package related to the Knowledge City. This is for the hosted company in Knowledge City, like the. Can I share or can I share like this slide or again to present
sure,
like this, to present. Okay, anyway, this is not, I cannot access share. Anyway, this is the including, this is including like the utility cost over the 3 years. And I mean, that is the hosting the company, the complete free of charge in the Innovation Hub at Knowledge City, free of charge over 3 years. And even we providing, also we provide like the subsidy and financing the transportation and also financing the capacity HR development. I mean, per new hires, I mean that for up to $10,000 per engineer or per head at like the financing HR development for those for new employees at Innovation Hub, up to $10,000. this is the those companies will benefit from the services in the advanced technology labs, like the microelectronics characterization, measurement characterization, IoT industry lab, and other labs with a cost all over all the time. This is a certain package for in the innovation hub. And also this is other incentives also could be applied out of the innovation hub, out of the knowledge city, like the funding R&D project. This is not only in the innovation hub, but that applied generally for any development and design and development project targeting mass production, not go to only the research, like they would like to empowering and the product launching to mass production as well. And also that they can benefit the companies or the employees or other HR resources or engineers can benefit from training programs and the capacity building general capacity building programs. Also that it can also benefit from other benefits in the subsidizing renting cost in the other technology park.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Yasser. We will share all the presentations with the audience. So if they require any detail, we will contact you later on. Let's move to Dr. Xavier, who apparently has fixed the problem he had. So Xavier, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, and sorry for this this problem. Okay, I will move to perhaps a more particular presentation, more specific presentation. And in this presentation, I will try to describe the research, development, and innovation landscape in Spain concerning specifically micro and nanoelectronics. Okay, the framework of this presentation starts 1 year ago with the fifth ESITIP call presentation, and in particular with the presentation of Ms. Clara Pezuela, President of Planetic, the technological platform to promote ICT in Spain. In his presentation, ICT Ecosystem in Spain, Ms. Pezuela provided a precise overview of the digital technologies sector in Spain. You can find, in fact, a more updated version of the Planetic Strategic Research Agenda concerning digitalization in Spain, which is updated at 2021. And this platform has three main areas of interest: software and services, embedded systems, and micro and nanotechnologies. My presentation will focus mainly on this in this last area, micro nanotechnologies, and more specific on the research, development, and innovation aspects of micro nanoelectronics in Spain. It's impossible to do with the few minutes we have an exhaustive description of the micro nanoelectronics scenario in Spain. And for this reason, I will focus on the activities in my own institute, the Barcelona Institute of Microelectronics. I will try to explain how the researchers in this reference institute can achieve their research, which administrative tools and which collaboration, which main actors for collaborating we have for developing our research. IMB is a public research organism that belongs to the Spanish Council for Scientific Research, CSIC. We are located in Barcelona. And as I mentioned, we are mainly devoted to micro-nanoelectronics. This means hardware. This means ICs, MEMS, power devices, sensors, this kind of electronic, micro-nanoelectronic devices. We have a micro-nano fabrication facility, a clean room that I will describe more in detail further on. Our main figures are shown here. We are around 200 people. More or less half of the people is devoted to research, including permanent research staff and PhD students. And we have another half of the personnel devoted to the maintenance and of the clean room. We are very active in developing research projects in our natural field of activity. And as I will show to you, we have, apart from direct industrial contracts, we take profit of the administrative tools that the different administrations provide to us. Our clean room facility is 1,500 square meters housing house clean room, including its main characteristic is that our clean room includes all the technological steps required in a CMOS process. We can go from the design to the packaging of integrated circuits, and this CMOS process is the main line that in which other activities are oriented. For example, taking as a reference this standard CMOS process, we can develop power devices by modifying the critical fabrication steps, or, for example, also MEMS or biomedical devices. We have also an additional packaging clean room devoted to integration and hybridization. And our clean room is considered a large-scale facility since 1996. At present, our clean room is integrated in a distributed large-scale facility, which is called micro-nano fabs, including also other facilities in Madrid, ISO, more oriented to optoelectronic systems, and also NTC in Valencia, more oriented to photonics. At IMB, we have 8 research groups that are developing their research in very different fields of the micro-nano technology, including nanofabrication, nanomaterials, micro-nano tools, microenergy sources, and sensors. This activity focuses on microfabrication on silicon. Basically, it oriented to MEMS. Also, radiation detectors for medical and particle detectors, chemical transducers, biomedical applications, power devices and systems, and integrated circuits and systems. Let's say digital, analog, and mixed integrated circuits. Okay, for undertaking our research, we have a main baseline, which is the Spanish strategy for science, technology, and innovation. This strategy is in line with the Sustainable Development Goals, and its present version concerns the 2021 to 27 period. In this strategy, we can find main strategic lines And the main one related with micro nanoelectronics is the digital wall industry, space, and defense, which includes electronics and photonics specifically, also artificial intelligence and robotics, space science, advanced materials and new manufacturing techniques, internet, and other aspects. Other strategic lines included in this reference and baseline document are climate, energy, and mobility. This includes very relevant topics like climate change and decarbonization topics. This is directly linked with the implementation of renewable energies, mobility, sensors for environmental monitoring. We can find also a topic on food, bioeconomy, natural resources, and environment, where again we can find relevant topics on remote sensors and Internet of Things, security for society, including cybersecurity, and also health, including biomedical engineering and bio-nanotech activities. This strategic research plan is addressed in more specific scientific, technical, and innovation and research plans. At present, we are in the ongoing 2021 to 2023 innovation and research plan. And these plans establish the scientific, technical, and social priorities that are addressed in this particular period. As you can see, I have included many links to the documents I am mentioning, and you can have a more detailed view of their content. The grants and the contracts that are provided in these scientific plans are evaluated through competitive calls. There are others, but the main agency that the research institutions have to address their proposals is the Agencia Estatal de Investigación, the state research agency. The research plan is made of 4 state programs and 13 sub-programs. They include very different aspects, like, for example, the financing of the funding of infrastructures, promoting research careers, etc. But I will focus mainly on one program, which is the state program to promote scientific, technical, and research and its transfer. This is perhaps the program that addresses more directly, enables more directly the development of research projects and innovation on the nano-micro electronics field. This program includes a sub-program, which is known the sub-program for knowledge generation, and this sub-program each year addresses mainly 2 calls. One, which is oriented to the research projects, to fund research projects without a previously defined thematic orientation. These are projects motivated mainly by scientific, technical, let's say, curiosity or interest. And the projects addressed in this program are not constrained to time horizons and the scope of applications. There is another very similar projects call each year, which is the oriented research project. These calls cover projects of scientific, technical research that are oriented to solving specific problems linked to the great challenges of the society. the main aspects and the main topics covered by this call are the ones defined in the strategic research agenda of Spain. We have also recently we had new research calls which are covered by the European Funds for Post-Pandemic Recovery, which are addressing two different also calls. One, which addressed directly the ecological and digital transition as engines of sustainable economic growth, and another call in these specific strategic projects, which cover strategic lines defined yearly. In 2021, among the 23 lines defined, the strategic lines defined, we can find some of them which are related with micro nanoelectronics, like digital twins, robots for help people, nanomaterials and nanotechnology for diagnosis of human diseases, etc. Okay, this concerning this sub-program for knowledge generation. Another very relevant sub-program is the one for knowledge transfer. This sub-program addresses many goals, but the two ones I want to stress are the proof of concept projects and the public-private collaboration projects. Both goals are addressed to finance projects that accelerate the transfer of knowledge and the results generated in more, let's say, fundamental research projects. Concerning the private collaboration, the public-private collaboration projects, they promote public-private collaboration in a knowledge transfer phase close to the production process to the market. In both kind of calls, a main actor is, of course, are the companies of the electronics sector. You can find here the link to the AMETIC association. AMETIC is an association which represents the digital technology industry in Spain. Their members are companies of all sizes, which include large global companies of IT, telecom, consumer electronics, services, etc. These companies, which are most of them are collected in AMETIC, are the main actors for allowing the transfer of our research to the economy, and to the society. There are other national frameworks for research in the microelectronics field. These are sectoral strategies in which R&D plays a fundamental role. Let's mention, for example, the Spanish strategy for artificial intelligence, for Industry 4.0, to promote Industry 4.0, etc. Concerning the international framework, we can develop our research, of course, in the Horizon Europe, which is European Key Funding Program for Research and Innovation, and in particular, this Horizon Europe, as you probably know, are based on 3 pillars, and the micro nano electronics research can be mainly addressed in the second pillar, which is divided in different clusters, and these activities are mainly addressed in the cluster 4, which is digital industry and space, but they can be also addressed in cluster 5, which covers the topics on energy and mobility, also in cluster 3 for civil security, cluster 1 for health. Horizon Europe covers very specific research, the research, let's say the most, let's say fundamental, more, let's say like that, research approaches. But we have another tool for develop our research, more specifically concerning the components and systems, electronic components and systems topic. This framework is Excel, is a joint undertaking, is a public-private partnership that now is moving to, now it's evolving to KDT, to the KDT. Excel is moving to the KDT joint undertaking. KDT stands for K Digital Technology. Excel or KDT funds research, development, and innovation projects in the electronic components and systems as K-enabled technologies, and Excel or KDT is composed of these three European industrial associations, EPOS, AENIAS, and INSIDE, and also through the European Union, is composed by the European Union and by the member states. The main research and development topics covered by this joint undertaking are extensively described in its strategic research agenda that you can find here in this link, which has been also updated very recently. Okay, considering these tools for undertaking the research in the electronics area, you can see here some examples of these kind of projects developed in the framework of the Spanish national research programs, and also developed under the European framework. As you can see, these are some examples that came from IMB CNM, from the Microelectronics Institute in Barcelona. You have here the links, and you can see that they cover a very wide range of applications, and that in fact, they are also evolving to the main strategic lines that have been recently defined. Okay, thank you. This is all of what I wanted to explain to you in this very specific topic. And okay,
thank you,
Manuel.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, you have some questions?
Well, we are a bit late according to the plan, so let's move to the next speaker. So maybe at the end of the event, if we have some questions, you will have the time to answer them, right?
Okay.
Once we have we have listened to different R&D calls, let's move to the call which is the aim of this webinar today, the bilateral R&D call between Egypt and Spain in IT technologies. And to talk about this bilateral call, we have today with us the two national managers from both funding agencies, Dr. Amer Safwat from ITIDA in Egypt, and Mrs. Cristina Gracia from CDTI in Spain. So, Dr. Amer Safwat, the floor is yours. I think you are going to start, and then you can give the floor to Cristina. Thank you very much, Amer.
Okay, thank you, Jose. Okay, welcome, and it is my pleasure to be with you today. What I'm gonna present, my name is Amer Safwat. I am the manager of the ITAC, representing ETIDA. Today, we're going to introduce round 6 of the Egyptian Spain IT Innovation Program. Actually, here are the deadlines. We're going to open the call. Actually, the call opened yesterday, November 15, and the due date is on March 25. Just a simple introduction about this program. As my dear colleague Jose mentioned, it was started in 2016. It is a joint program between ETIDA, Information Technology Industry Development Agency, Egypt, and CDTI from Spain. The objective is to launch ambitious joint R&D projects and foster the international collaboration between Egyptian and Spanish organizations. The consortium consists of, from the Egyptian side, we have 2 partners. We have the university and we have the company, and the budget should be more than 30% from the total budget of the project. While from the Spanish side, we need at least 1 company with the budget should be less or equal to 70% of the project. And the submission package will be submitted to the CDTI electronic application system. So the ITAC, it is the department in ETIDA that manage the ESITP program. We have the mission to bring value to Egyptian ICT industry by fostering collaboration between industry and academia and developing R&D based innovative products. So maybe let's just go ahead and explain the production or the funding levels at the ITAC and what is related to the Egyptian Spain program. At the ITAC, we have 3 funding levels. The first one to the university faculty members, and it is a small projects. It is around 15k euro, which is equivalent to 250 Egyptian pound, and it is limited to university faculty members. And then we go to the second level of funding, which we call it Advanced Research Project, ARP. In this funding scheme, the budget increased to 1.5 mega Egyptian pound, which equivalent to 75 K euro. In this funding scheme, we need to have a faculty member from a university and a company. The deliverable of this funding scheme is a prototype. The second level of, or the third level of funding, what we call it PDP, Product Development Projects. The ceiling in this case, it goes up to 2.5 million Egyptian pounds. That's to say around 120k euro. And we have also an extra fund for electronic industry. Along the TRL scale, so basically we are moving from the entry here is TRL 3, and then we go up to TRL 7. For the Egyptian Spain ITIP program, we fund only level 2 and level 3. Level 1 is not allowed. For the process of the evaluation, actually, as the due date mentioned, we opened the call yesterday and we will close it on March 25. So basically after this duration, from the Egyptian side, the evaluation is independent from the Spanish side and from the Egyptian side. At the Egyptian side, we take the proposal and we send the proposal to 2 or 3 independent reviewers. It takes around 2 to 6 weeks, and then we conduct a presentation in front of the steering committee. The steering committee, it is the governing body of the ITAC at ETIDA, and they give the final decision. If there is an agreement between ETIDA and CDTI, we're gonna fund the proposal. The contents of the proposal, which is the aim of this presentation, we're gonna actually, the contents basically consist of general information about the proposal, then the project outline, the participant data, contribution to the project, expertise of the participant, and the consortium agreement. There are some extra file required from ETIDA. All this package will be submitted to the Spanish website. In my presentation, I will focus on the project outline. What should the project contain? As a description for the project outline, it consists of 5 parts. Basically, it is a description, general description. Then a section about the innovations part in the projects, and the technology will be implemented during the projects, and then the market, and then the project descriptions from the milestone and Gantt chart and work breakdown structure. These are 5 parts. However, to better describe the content of the proposal, let's start with the end in mind. This proposal will be sent to reviewers, and the reviewers will check specific questions. So what I'm gonna present in the rest of my presentation are the questions sent to the reviewer and the expected answer to these questions. So basically, from the evaluation point of view, the proposal will be checked for these 5 criteria. First, the eligibility, and then a critical criteria, we're gonna describe it soon, and basic assessment, and then what is related to IT and the innovation, and then the market and competition. So what are the questions? The first set of the questions are related to the eligibility criteria, and basically 3 questions. First of all, the project should target a civilian purpose. Second, should be directed to product or process or service. And there should be collaborations between the Egyptian side and the Spanish side. These 3 questions, it is expected to find the answer in the general information part and in the project outline, the first part. Then we go to the second set of questions, which is related, what we call it crucial. And actually, financial capacity of partners, very important, and also the formal agreement between the partners. As you can see in the proposal submission package, you need to submit the consortium agreement between the different members of the team, and the financial capacity of the partner, you need to describe it in the description at the first part of the project outline, and also in the participant data. Actually, as you can see in the proposal content, everything should be described in the project outline and their specific details in the other sections, which is basically the participant data, contribution to the project, and the expertise of the applicant. So these 3 are more info about the proposal. From the basic assessment, and as we said, we are looking for proposal that describe a good engagement between the different partners and from Egyptian side and from the Spanish side. So what we are expecting, partnership, we are expecting balanced partnership, we are expecting added value, we are expecting technological capacity. Moreover, in the proposal, we are looking for a clear description of the project. So basically, we are looking for the work breakdown structures, we are looking for the milestones, the financing structures. All these requirements should be clearly described in the proposal, in the sections of the work breakdown, and also to the contribution to the proposal and the expertise of the applicant. The fourth category of questions related to the technology and innovation. And this program support innovation. So basically, we are expecting to find or to see a technological advancement. So we have a starting point, and then we're gonna move forward to a specific directions, and we're gonna improve the current conditions to better conditions. So basically, we have technological maturity, and we are expecting technological achievement. Similarly, we need to find a degree of innovation. There is a section in the project outline related to innovation and technology. The last category of questions related to the market and the competition. Our aim is to realize, to develop products that find its way to the market. So basically, we are expecting to find a market analysis that includes the market size, the market access, the break-even analysis, return of investments. Also, we are expecting answers to the following questions related to the competition and the strategic importance of these projects and the advantage of the proposed solution with respect to the existing solutions. And we have a specific section in the project outline related to the market. In general, the proposal, when it is reviewed, we have some sort of general questions related to the appearance of the project. Actually, it is not expected. We are expecting a proposal well written. All the previous work is cited. All statistics and reporting number also should be cited. Figures and pictures are well referred in the text. Good language, and this is really very important. You really put the important information. Please don't submit a very long proposal with repeated material. One of the submission file required from the Egyptian side, what we call it the key success indicators for the Egyptian side who participated previously in ITAC funded project. They need to submit the key success indicator, which basically describe their achievement in previous projects. Achievement means research papers, patents, or commercial outcomes. After the first cycle of the review, in which the proposal is sent to 2 or 3 independent reviewers, usually the decision is either to reject or proceed to the second level. In the second level, the Egyptian partner will give a presentation in front of the steering committee. In this presentation, he has to answer also some sort of questions. So basically, we are expecting a good introduction about his team members and the industrial partner profile and his previous experience, and then the project objectives, relation to the ICT industrial, and a market analysis concerning about existing solution, proposed solution, advantage of the proposed solution. We are expecting as well a brief description about the budget and the ROI and the break-even analysis and the execution of the project. Usually the presentation is 25 minutes. By this, I am done with my presentation. I am willing to answer any questions. Please recall the submissions, actually, the call started yesterday and the due date is on March 25. Thank you, and my pleasure.
Thank you, Amer, for your presentation. Then let's give the floor to Mrs. Cristina Gracia, National Manager of CDTI of the ESITIP call. Cristina, the floor is yours. Cristina, you're mute.
Hello. Well, I think you can see me now and listen to me. I was trying to share my presentation before I started talking and turned on the camera. So my name is Cristina Gracia. I'm Program Manager for ESITIP call at CDTI. And I'm going to share with you some basics about the call so that you can recall them when you are preparing your own proposal. Before that, I would like to talk to you about our organization. We are the Spanish Innovation Agency. It was created in 1977, and our aim is to enhance Spanish companies' competitiveness and their international profile through innovation. At CDTI, we have a Foreign Technology Action Department with professionals based in Madrid, like myself, and a foreign network with presence in over 20 countries. A part of this foreign network are the delegates, like my colleague Jose Manuel, who is the moderator for this session, and the delegate for the North Africa and Middle East region. Our aim in this foreign network is to establish collaborations with other funding agencies in other countries in order to launch some interesting programs just like ESITIP. As we have already said, ESITIP is the Egyptian Spanish Innovation Program, and through this program we launch annual calls to fund R&D projects in IT between Spanish and Egyptian organizations. I think it's interesting to highlight here that we launch annual calls. So if you can't make it for this year, don't worry. We are planning to launch another call next year. Indeed, this is the 6th edition, and we hope we can continue with this program. The projects to be funded through ESITIP calls must be industry-driven and market-oriented. They must search the development or substantial improvement of products, processes, or services. Of course, as an international call, you must comply with the international cooperation. For this program, this means that every project must be carried out by a minimum consortium of 3 partners: 1 Egyptian company, 1 Egyptian research group, and 1 Spanish private company. The Egyptian research group must have a PI holding a PhD in ICT, and the Spanish company must be registered at ITIDA database. If your Egyptian company is not yet registered, please contact ITIDA so that you can register yourself in this database. Related to this international cooperation, it's also important to remember that all partners must participate in R&D activities. This should include commercial agreements or technology transfer agreement, which doesn't include that every partner participates in R&D activities of the projects. Finally, it's also to remark that these international cooperations means that the maximum budget per country is the 70% of the total budget of the project. If you don't have this full consortium of 3 partners, you may want to use our partner search service. You should complete this template which will be available with the text of the call, or you can contact us so we can send it to you. And once you have it, you will send it to your funding agency, either ITIDA or CDTI, so that we can share it with each other and distribute it among our contacts in order to try to find a suitable partner for you. At CDTI, we use our mailing distribution list to share this information. So if you want to receive our partner search, you need to go to our website and register for 2 mailing lists, the one for Egypt and the one for ICT. As we have said, this is a thematic call, meaning that in this call, we only fund projects in all areas of information technologies and its applications. Remember, all areas of information technology. Here we have highlighted some strategic areas and technology trend areas But again, every area of information technology or its application can be funded through this call. If you want to find the text of the call, you can find it on the internet easily using a web browser and introducing ESITIP CDTI or ESITIP ETIDA, and you will find the full text. Because as we have said, the call was published yesterday and it will be open until March 25th. We will talk about the steps to be followed in order to submit a proposal. It might take a few times, so please don't leave the submission of an application for the very last day. Okay, in order to simplify the application's submission, we have decided, ETIDA and CDTI, to use a single submission system. We will use a CDTI submission system. This means that you don't need to send your proposal to ETIDA. Spanish and Egyptian partners will work together to prepare a joint ESITIP application form and a consortium agreement that the Spanish company will have to submit through CDTI's submission system. In addition to these two documents, you will have to prepare some specific documents for Spanish or Egyptian applicants, and all of them will be uploaded by the Spanish company through the CDTI submission system. Again, it's quite easy to find the CDTI submission system using a web browser, introducing Sede Electrónica or electronic headquarters. And you will need to have a user in this system in order to be able to submit a proposal. So the Spanish company needs a user, and in order to create it, you will have to provide some basic information like the type of company or some contact details. But it's important that you take into account that this user must be confirmed by our colleagues at the office. This means that if you try to create your user in the afternoon or even during the weekend or bank holidays, it will take some time for you to have your user. So please, again, don't leave the submission of the application for the very last day. Once you have your user, you enter your private area and you will be allowed to create a new application. You will have to select what kind of application you want to send. In the first menu, you will have to select International Technological Cooperation Program, and in the second one, ESITIP program. After that, you will be asked to provide a title and the dates of the project. Remember that expected duration for the projects in ESITIP program is between 1 and 2 years, and that we are expecting to have the evaluations for this call by September 2022. So maybe a good starting date for your projects would be October 2022. Once you have done this, you will enter your online application form. You will have to fulfill all the items on the left menu. And in order to introduce information, you have to click on modify, and please remember to record before you move to the following item. At the bottom of the menu, you will find the item documentation. This one has 2 sections. The first one contains all the templates for the call and also a useful guideline on how to complete this application form. Finally, on the last section of documentation, you will find a browser where you can upload all the documents we've been talking about. Regarding the evaluation, you have to take into account that once you have submitted your proposal and when the call is closed, we will check all the information you have submitted. Within 10 days, we will determine whether the proposal meets international requirements or not. If it doesn't, the proposal will be rejected. If it does, then the technical evaluation will start. Here, I would like to highlight 2 things that has already been said, but I want to repeat them. First, ETIDA will make this technical evaluation over the documents you have already submitted. But for CDTI, we will ask you, the Spanish company, to provide a national funding application. You will be given 20 days to send this national funding application. If you want to have the template for this national funding application, we can send it to you in advance. This application is important to note that it must be written in Spanish, that the basic information will be the same as it is the same project, but we need you to focus on the activities of the Spanish company. Once you have submitted this application, the technical evaluation will start. You will be asked to provide some additional information. And once we have both evaluations, the one from CDTI and the one from ETIDA, we will come to a mutual understanding, meaning that projects that have a positive evaluation in both countries may receive international ESITIP certification and may opt for national funding. The financial support we are providing at CDTI for these projects is a partially reimbursable aid that can cover up to 85% of the total approved budget. If you want to learn a little bit more about the details of this funding, I suggest you to check on our website because it's too long to do it here and you will find more detailed information. Before I finish my presentation, I would like to highlight some points about the budget and the project for the Spanish partners. First of all, the consortium must include at least one Spanish company. More Spanish companies can participate in the project, but at the national levels, these would be different projects. The budget per each Spanish company must be higher than 175,000 euros. This budget must be for R&D activities because these are the only activities that we can fund through this call at CDTI, meaning that if you have management or communication activities, we cannot fund them and will not count for this minimum of 175,000 euros. The applicant for CDTI would be the Spanish company, but of course they can subcontract either with other companies or with research institutes, universities, or technological centers. Other costs that can be covered through the call, apart from this subcontraction, would be amortization, material cost, or technical personnel. We are not considering travel cost as themselves. As you can see here, we can cover other costs, indirect costs, that are calculated as a percentage over technical personnel. We consider that travel expenses are covered with these indirect costs. And this is the end of my presentation. We are open, both Amor and I, for any question you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Cristina. There is only one question. I suggest that all the questions can be written in the chat. That way, all people can be aware of the questions. I see one question in the Q&A section, but maybe in the chat it's also accessible for everyone. Anyway, we have been talking about the strategy, landscape, big words. So I would like to move to something more concrete. No, one of the projects that we have approved in these previous years that both agencies have funded, and we have the pleasure to count with us today with the partners of the project Pivolta I 4.0 project. This project that was, if I'm not wrong, funded 2 years ago, has the main objective of test Industry 4.0 technologies in the PV plants. We come today with representatives from Egypt and Spain. In fact, we have Dr. Yihya Ismail from the American University of Cairo, Dr. Amer Helmi from Empower Systems, and Mr. Juan Luis Carus from TSK Electrónica and Electricidad. Please, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for joining us today.
So I think Juan will start.
Yes, I'm going to start here. So first of all, thank you very much for invite us to this event and to take us the opportunity of talking about our project. This project is called Pivotal 4.0, and the title is Development of Industry 4.0 Operation and Maintenance Technologies for PV Plant Management. This project, well, in this presentation, I'm going to start giving a general overview of the project, and then I'm going to talk about the activities and the main approach that we are carrying out in the project. I will start from the TSK point of view, and then Yihia will continue with the activities from the Egyptian side of the project. Well, at the end of 2018, from TSK, we start thinking about the possibility of having the possibility of researching about how novel technologies, all these kind of technologies related with the Industry 4.0 concept, could help us to the operation and maintenance of our plant. We are a Spanish company specialized in the development of energetical solutions. Mainly, we are working on the renewable energy sector, and we are very active in the development of and in the building of large photovoltaic plants around the world. So at the end of 2018, we contact CTI with an idea about starting a project related to research about how novel technologies could help us in our activity. In this case, CTI, with the collaboration of ITIDA, help us to search a partner in Egypt able to work with us in the project. They send us some eligible and potential partners. We start talking with some of them, and finally we decide to work with Empower Energy System at the American University in Cairo to start working on this project. We start having meetings, trying to know the expertise of each member of the consortia. We start creating the project, and finally we submit the Pivotal 4.0 project to the third call of Egypt and Spain. The project has 5 main objectives. The first objective is to develop an Industry 4.0 system capable of monitoring and controlling a power PV plant using Industry 4.0 technologies. With this objective in mind, the second objective is to construct an IoT-enabled power plant with the objective of solve vertical and horizontal integration problems, a kind of problems that for TSK we are very common with, and also taking into account cybersecurity issues. We are working in an industrial field, and we are all conscious about the importance of taking into account cybersecurity issues from the design of our plant. So from our side, this project is also an opportunity to research and to define a methodology to take into account this kind of issues in our projects. The third objective is to design new sensors and novel inspection technologies to improve the characterization of our PV plants. We know that we are monitoring some variables related to the PV plant process, but in the project we are designing and implementing new sensors that will help us to know what's happening in our plants and how to improve the performance. The fourth objective is to define and implement novel operation and maintenance data science algorithms based on artificial intelligence. We take into account the things that I have been mentioned during the third objective. And the last objective is to build a PV demo plant to test all the system and all the technologies in which we are working during the project. In this slide, we can see a general diagram of the project and also of the responsibilities of each member of the consortia. For Empower Energy System, EES, they are the responsible of designing and building the PV plant that we are used as demo. From the American University in the Cairo, they are responsible of designing and implementing the new sensors that we are going to include in our solution. And also they are the responsible of researching about novel data algorithms that could improve the operation and maintenance of our plant. From TSK and from the Digital Innovation Department, that is the department that I'm leading, we are working on the designing and implementing of a processing architecture able to collect all the data generated in the plant and also collected by the new sensors, to take into account cybersecurity issues, as I mentioned before, and overall to create a processing scalable architecture able to collect all this data generated in real time and to be able to process all this data using algorithms based of artificial intelligence. The visualization of the status of the plant and to receive all kind of alerts and data that could be helpful to improve the operation of the plant. We are thinking of the development of a web interface, but in fact in the project we are also evaluating the use of novel technologies as augmented reality or virtual reality. The project, well, we plan the project divided in 6 work package. Is a very common approach in this kind of projects. And we initially planned the project for 24 months, starting the 1st of November of 2019 and ending on November of 2021. Now, some weeks ago, we have request a extension of the project because we have some bureaucratic problems related to send some equipments from Spain to Egypt. Due to these bureaucratic problems and all the paperwork related to importing and exporting this kind of equipment, we decide to ask for an extension of 6 months. So nowadays, the end date of the project is the 3rd of June of 2022. I have a mistake in the slide, sorry. And well, with this extension, we are now in line with the diagram of the Gantt diagram of the project because in fact this Monday we finally have the device in Egypt. Well, about TSK, as I mentioned before, we are a technological and service company offering efficient, sustainable, and digital solutions for the industrial and power sectors. We have several business lines, but the renewable energy line is one of the main business line and business sectors of the company. We are a company with more than 35 years of experience, more than 1,000 employees. We have a turnover of around 1,000 million euros. And we have experience working in more than 50 countries. In fact, we are our main activity is out of Spain due to the kind of plants that we are developing. In the project, as I mentioned before, we are the main responsible of the architecture. And in this case, we are working on an IoT device, on the development of an IoT device to collect all the data. This is the device, the equipment that we had the problems about sending the device from TSK to Egypt. We are the responsibles of creating this processing architecture that should work in a scalable way and with a high tolerance of faults. And we are also developing all the processing requirements to be able to deploy and to launch artificial intelligence algorithms in the platform to detect and to do some predictions that Dr. Yigia will explain later. Our idea is to have all this data available from a web interface. In this web interface, our idea is also to include a virtual reality visualization of the plants, trying to evaluate how this technology could help technicians and operators to work with the plant. And our idea is to have a self solution in the sense of having the possibility of manage all the data from the plant in a remote from a remote center. And well, this is all from my part. So Yigia, if you could continue, please. I don't know if you want to maybe to share your screen.
I'll just share my screen.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to stop.
Okay. Thank you, Juan, for the great introduction. Actually, my camera is not working for some reason on the laptop, so I guess you're lucky you don't have to see me, but otherwise, let me go ahead. So Juan has talked about us. So the Center of Nanoelectronics at AUC actually is something I established when I came back from the US to Egypt maybe 10 years ago. And we have had very good success with industry, US industry mostly, but now TSK and some regional in United Arab Emirates and so on. And we have managed to raise something like $2.5 million of funding and so on, and a lot of publications, and we generated a lot of prototypes. And I think it's generating a lot of activity in our area in Egypt. I myself, as the PI of the project from the Egyptian side, I'm an IEEE fellow, and I was tenure professor at Northwestern in America. And I have been funded by industry tremendously all my life, had some good startups, was editor-in-chief of several transactions and so on. So this is the academic entity. So it, as Juan mentioned, it requires three partners, one from Spain, industrial, and one industrial and one academic from Egypt. So this is the academic partner. The industrial partner from Egypt is Empower Energy Systems, which is a young company with some really competent people, and they had a lot of experience building stations and so on, and they were very interested into getting into research and so on, and so they are our partner. In terms of their activities, they helped us financially manage the project, essentially produce characterizers, and they have built a solar station. This is in the American University site, and it has about 50 panels, and it has a weather station, and they build this DC combiner boxes, which gives us a lot of control on just turning off a string, reading its readings, and controlling the power electronics of the whole station. In terms of C&D as a center, we have built mainly this characterizer. So this is a piece of electronics that we have built, and we have looked into optimizing the functionality and price. So, and we had an eye on it being seamless to install and put into and program and mass produce. So for example, we have programming testing bins so that if anything happens, we can test it. Even it has wireless on it, so you don't have to include any communication wires. It has it's self-powered, meaning it powers itself from the panel itself, so you don't need to put power cables. So essentially, you just can stick it at the back of any panel and just hook it to the panel, you know, as part of the panel wiring, which is seamless. And then it networks itself, and it is easily testable and so on. Also, the price, we're aiming for $20, and hopefully in mass production we'll reduce this price to $10, maybe $15. We'll see how much we can do. The chip crisis is affecting the price at this point, but I think if this phases out, we can get it down to $10, okay? And so what does it do? The characterizer is really a full IV curve characterization of the panel, each panel, okay? And if it's cheap enough and easy to install, then you can imagine the future. Even in the future, we're contemplating of building the whole board on an IC, like on an integrated circuit, which is an area we have a lot of expertise in as maybe a second phase to the project. So it can be very small, very cheap, and with a lot of functionality. And it gives you much more information than you could ever have about current solar stations. So if you look on the web and try to search for, even for money, databases about solar information and data from, it's very trivial. They just give you the total station, let's say 550 megawatt station, just give you the whole information, right? The whole station production was such, the weather was such, and that's it. But to see panel by panel and the IV curves and so on, this is a whole different level of collecting data that can lead to a lot of analysis and fault analysis and aging analysis and preventative, and we can learn a lot. So this is, so we are into this direction, and currently what we have is very satisfactory. With an eye on mass production, we have built this automatic calibration software, and essentially we program our power supplies to behave like a panel, you know, and we get this information from the data sheet. So you can get any panel, get the data sheet information, give it to our program, and the power supply would look like a panel, a solar panel. And you hook your characterizer to it, and in few seconds, it does several things. It sees if the characterizer is working or not, and it looks into calibrating it. It calibrates it. So if some parameters needs to be calibrated so that the IV curve from the characterizer matches the IV curve from the supply, then it does that. So in few seconds, you know if it's working or not, and your characterizer is calibrated. So this is very scalable to mass production. We have also done some effort because, as Juan mentioned, we had a delay in this IoT device coming from Spain to Egypt because of security and bureaucratic stuff. So we have built our own networking solutions, a full network solution. Anyway, we were responsible for building the networking for the characterizers, but we have built something that now we will use the device from TSK, the IoT device, but we have built an alternative to that, just so that we can keep going with our project and not to get delayed. And so we have built also a level of security. We use MQTT, and we use cybersecurity, and we use data compression. So if you can imagine, if you look at these curves, these are a lot of data for every panel, many points, and you have so many panels, and you take this every, let's say, 10, 15 minutes. That's a lot of data. So we managed to compress the data. Also, we have a data compression algorithm for this stuff, okay? Now, and we use the Raspberry Pi to act instead of the IoT device and to get it all the way to the server. Now, this is all implemented. So if you look at our software diagram, so we have the hardware, the characterizers in the site. There are many and big data. The inverters, weather station, circuit breakers, you can also read them through Modbus TCP IP. Then your backend would take these and put them into a database, okay? We implemented all this, and then you can visualize. So this is, of course, this we should be using TSK's visualization, which we will do in the extension we asked for because of this delay. But for now, we have an elementary interface in English and Arabic. And this is how our site looks. All these squares are panels to scale. This is how the site really looks if you look at it from a plane, right? And then you can look into a panel by panel. Like this is one panel, this is another panel, and look at things like efficiency, fill factor, voltage at maximum power, current, and so on, short circuit, IV curves, the full IV curve, and so on. So you can see much more information about each panel. You can see the IV curve, like I said. You can see it over time as well, you know, of the day and night, and so on. So what do we do with this information now? Here comes an AI layer we're working on and modeling layer. So we have some good guys who have built a multi-level modeling approach. So it starts from the panel. The panel is formed from solar cells. And we have modeled the cell, then how to build a substring, how to build a substring in the panel, and then the panel, which is typically 2 diodes and 2 substrings, and then how to model a string in the full station, and then how to model the full station. So we have built all this modeling, and that's useful because you can get a data sheet and get from it the expected model right away, you know, and if a fault happens and so on. So we have built this, and then we build on top of that some AI algorithms to look for faults, such as an aging and hotspots and cleaning faults, meaning is it a cleaning fault or is it a hotspot, and so on. They have different signatures on the IV curve. So for example, if you look at a typical cleaning fault, the whole curve drops like this, right? A hotspot would typically have steps in the IV. So there are ways to easily actually, I wouldn't say you even need that complex of AI algorithms to detect things, simply because the data we provide from the hardware is so much. So, and then we are working on some notification systems that can send messages and send stuff to the software and the janitor or whatever to. And of course, the value is huge because you have all these panels in large stations. And if something happens, you would like to know. Here is a block diagram of the whole project, the integration, which is the phase we are in right now. And we will be working more with TSK in the coming days to catch up what we missed in terms of the delay in getting the device and integrating our data with their database and visualization software. And I would say the big win here would be when we sign a co-commercialization agreement, so which we're looking forward to, given that TSK is a door to Europe and we are a door to the Middle East. So there can be a very good synergy here, and we're supported by both governments through this project. So that sounds like a good plan. So hopefully we'll get there. The submission process was simple, like I think like Amr and Christine have described. Exactly, just shifted 2 years back. And so we really started in October, like you were advised. And I think TSK used their Choose a Partner program, and they interviewed us, and we talked to them, and that's how it happened. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Isia. Thank you, Juan. I don't know if you could give to the audience some tips on some advices regarding the bilateral cooperation or the submission process, or something that they should consider if they are interested in applying to this bilateral R&D call.
Well, from our perspective as enterprise, I think that it's very important to take into account all the things related to the consortium agreement from the beginning of the project. I think that is very necessary to discuss about how we are going to manage the results of the project and trying to find the best way for all the sides, because we are going to work together in a project of 1, 2, or 3 years. But the important thing is how it's going to happen after the project execution. In our case, we discuss it at the beginning of our conversations when we were thinking about presenting or not the project, and I think that is a good approach to take this into account from the beginning. And also as advice, take into account all the bureaucratic things that could happen related to sending equipments if it's necessary, and all this kind of things. In our case, for example, maybe it would be better if we decided at the beginning, for example, to buy the device in Egypt, or, well, I think that we should have analyzed better these other options, because sending the device wasn't a easy task.
I agree. I mean, like Juan said, the advice is, of course, you should talk to your partner extensively before you apply. And in this case, we have done, I think, a relatively good job with Juan and his team in TSK, because you have a much more coherent proposal. Essentially, you need to do an honest job. And in this case, honesty was built in because we really wanted to commercialize and do something real, and partner with TSK, which is a great company in Europe. And TSK had a real problem. So that worked naturally. But in general, I would say that would be 90%. If you have a real problem and real interest, it will reflect in the proposal. And then, of course, do the typical things, which is write correctly, good English, and well organized, good planning. Just do the steps carefully, read carefully, and write the steps.
Okay, thank you very much to both of you. We are finishing this webinar. I only want to remind you that we will share with all the audience all the presentations that we attended today. Moreover, I invite all the audience to contact CDTI and ITIDA representatives in case they need more information, or in case they need to find a suitable partner in the other country. As we are seeing right now, ITIDA and CDTI help this consortia to find the partner in the foreign country. So don't hesitate in contacting us. I would like to wrap up this webinar. Thank you to all the speakers and the audience that has been with us today. And I would like to wish you a fruitful partnership. I hope we have plenty of submissions in this ESITIP R&D bilateral call. Thank you very much to all of you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.